Hi.
Hi. Hello. What's up, chat?
Hi.
Guten Morgen, chat.
It's not Morgan anymore.
Excuse me, Guten Abend.
It's Guten Tag.
That's true.
Guten
Afternoon.
Nacht either. Nacht is night.
Abend is afternoon.
Hmm?
Pretty sure Abend is afternoon.
Evening.
Abend?
Abend is Tag is day.
Oh, yeah.
You got morning, day,
Nacht
evening,
is
Nacht.
evening. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I didn't die. I'm alive.
He's here.
I have survived.
He did not win, though.
No.
So, tragedy.
No. Really not surprising, though.
Tragedy. I told him that they either come back with their shield or on it. Regale us of tales of your travels.
Well,
I mean, did you have fun?
yeah, I had a great time. Met some cool people. Played a cool game.
Was it worth the trip?
Yeah. So, I would have liked to have been a little bit more prepared for the event, but that's okay.
I would have liked to have played the game more than none.
Yeah.
That might have been nice.
I think it was one of those things that, like, I did well enough with zero experience that, like, if I had had a week and a half to like prepare for the event,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that Jacob and I both would have done very well.
Yeah, because the game was brand new, so it's not like anybody there was doing much better than you.
I mean, the game had only been released, but like the cards had been shown for some amount of time. The people had the opportunity to like print out and proxy cards to test games, and there's a lot of, you know,
If you're that serious about it, then I guess yeah.
There are a lot of people who were that serious about it at the event. A lot. Chavand with the Prime, 38 months. Thank you so much. Welcome to the stream today. I hope you are doing well.
Careful before you thank that guy.
I haven't seen a liar tag, so I think we're good. We're safe.
I don't know why his doesn't show up.
Unlike this T. Schmidt guy who's got a liar tag.
I don't know why Siobhan's doesn't show up. Siobhan is definitely a liar.
Mayliger, Creepy, Friday Mini Painting Studios, T. Schmidt, Super Bleeder, Siobhan, how you guys doing today? Hope you're all doing alright. Did I get mugged at needlepoint? No, I did not.
At needle?
No, I did not. I survived the weekend with flying colors.
Jacob made it back in one piece.
He did indeed. I made a point of making sure he came back alive.
He came back alive.
Much to his dismay, perhaps.
Have I mentioned that I have a lot of mechs?
Like,
just moving them around the table is a lot.
Like, find a better place to put all the ones that are done.
No. Need that case to get here.
The mini case?
Yeah. That happens. Well, that's a lot bigger than you said it was going to be.
So, I could take him off the base and get it a little bit better, but the right side wouldn't be as flush.
It's this.
Yeah.
Well, shoot. Right, we got some work to do, chat.
It's a pretty awkward model to put together. It's a fantastic model, but that cape, I think I should have put the cape on before I put on the thing. <clears throat> Death Knight. Yeah, you guys are in for a treat. We just did the Morgan, and now we're doing the Death Knight. How awesome is that? I think it's pretty awesome. How do you feel?
Who you asking?
You.
Me?
You.
I mean...
He who doth do the painting.
I mean, I get to paint, so...
Yes.
I'm not mad at that.
That's true.
You're painting your Battletech and realize you didn't take a before photo? Are you doing it for, like, the May challenge? Here we go, Chet. We're going to do the cheater fill.
Thetix, how's it going?
Cheater fill.
Oh, the super glue and set method. If it works, it works. Don't knock it till you try it, chat.
Oh my God, Siobhan. Siobhan.
Did everybody in chat have a nice weekend? I hope you did.
Hey, Dick's good to see you. You were going to do it for the challenge, but I can take a month break. I'm not doing it over. Only problem with all of this, making sure that let the accelerator dry before trying to go in and put more super glue down. Otherwise you get insta block.
Lumberjack Tim, how's it going?
Got a lot of spiky bits.
Yes, he does.
I don't know what the over-ender is on me actually getting this guy finished without breaking all this shit, but we'll see. There's a lot of stuff. Spindly fingernails and holy crap.
Yep.
Chat, this model is freaking awesome.
It is really cool.
Like, this model is absolutely freaking awesome. It's going to be a joy to paint. I am not painting him with metallic paints. I thought about it. I'm not doing it. I think it would be doing an injustice. There's a lot of layers to the armor, which is going to be an absolute disaster painting non-metallic metal in some cases, but I don't know that I have a choice.
Gotta do it.
I think it's been decided for me, chat.
All so good, you gotta do the non-metallic.
My God, the details are amazing on this.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've gotten like a good up close look at it?
First time I've held it in my hand.
Yeah.
At Adepticon, I took a look at it, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to paint that guy when we get back. Should be fun. The hell. No, though. We could pull it. I think so. I was trying to think before stream, like, what my goal is color-wise on this guy. And I have in my head that, like, a heavy dose of purple undertones would be really neat.
I think that would look great.
Like purples and magentas, because Death Knight.
Yep.
Might be kind of cool. Also part of me that's like, oh, the armor would be really good if you did it in kind of a dirty bronzy color too. Death Knight.
There's a lot of different options that you could do with that. Red armor would be cool.
Yeah, like colored metal.
Yeah.
Could be really neat.
Like almost like a lacquered metal, just like super reflective, glossy red.
Blood red.
Yeah. So you look nice and shiny. Get lots of nice dark red tones in there. I think that would look really good. I do. You may. Jade for everything.
Jade, always a good choice.
Yeah, Jade would look cool. I would have no problem with Jade on that model. Would look really cool.
Jade, like dark jade.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I think of Death Knight and blacks and grays and purple.
Dar, where did Jordan's hair go? It fell on the floor. It was pretty funny, Jason.
Isn't that crazy?
I came in this morning. Jason was like, "Where the heck did the hair go?"
No, I think my exact thing was
Yes.
Your hair's gone. No, it looks good. He was super hippie Jordan.
I was. Yeah, this is how I usually keep it. I found a nice barbershop around town, so I will more regularly have my hair normalized now, which is great. How's that feeling?
Big one's a pain, but I get it. Lock of hair here.
Yeah, I tried to get it as flush on both sides as I could. It is the back.
Not the end of the world either way, but
No, Lion, I did not win the card game. It was. I did well. Given my preparation, I did very well.
means that he did no prep.
Yeah, actually none. I think before the event, and I mean, mind you, this is like a regional level event. So this is like people are going hardcore, try hard mode at this event, and it's like people who really care about doing well.
A game that's only been out for a week.
2 weeks.
Doesn't matter.
2 weeks.
Point still stands.
True.
Like, why do you do that for a game that's only been out for 2 weeks? Like, that makes no sense to me.
I don't know.
Seems weird, doesn't it?
It's a little odd, yeah. But, you know, they made their decision.
Did their thing.
And they did their thing.
Good on them.
Had a good event. Cool. Yeah. Had a good time.
Good.
Had a good time.
You guys go out to any good meals?
No, not really. We didn't really like go out to eat hardly at all the whole weekend.
Really? It was just fast food.
Yeah, or Cliff Bars.
Snacking and Cliff Bars. Oh no.
Yeah. Because I refuse to pay for convention floor food.
Oh yeah, like $8 hot dogs.
Yeah, they were in fact $8.50.
Yep. For
just the hot dog. If you wanted the combo, it was $4.50 or $14. Which is ridiculous.
That's a steal at twice the price.
Yeah. So
maybe not.
No. Certainly not. So yeah, we ended up like not really eating a whole bunch of, like, we had some McDonald's on the way back to the Airbnb on the evening of the first night.
Yeah.
Which like was at 11 o'clock or something.
Sure.
Because
that's as good as
the event ran for pretty long. But we managed to like go out and find some we got like Chipotle on the way home. That was like the first real meal that we had all weekend.
Like, if you really wanted this thing model, you'd have given at least us go in front of him.
I mean, I think you could potentially just leave it off. In the render, it's off to the left.
Like here, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sit very. Have to.
If you reverse it and you flip it around, it sits a little bit better.
Him and then put. I don't know. Oh. We're leaving it off.
Oh, you know what you could do with
leaving it off for now. Replace the one in his hand and give him this one.
No, you could make it glow. Like, you could have it be like a glowing liquid on the inside and do like an underglow on the front part of the model. Be kind of neat.
Yeah, let's wait.
But that's a lot of.
I just did that with Horace. I don't know about it.
Just ideas. I'm spitballing ideas to you. Line Creative, any progress on Surf One Army? Yes. I have acquired it. It is in my possession. I do not have all of the 2,000 points for it. That's like in my possession yet, but I hope to get that part solved either tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. Really?
Yeah.
You got a local store that's got it?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff you need?
Yeah. I ordered some of the extra Raptor guys. So I ordered like 10 extra of the Raptor on them. Because I think their rules are really cool. They have some like really fun flavor to their rules. That makes me want to play them. I don't know if you know anything about those things at all.
Probably not. Absolutely cannot stand Sarah.
Oh, there
not
you
a
go.
thing I pay attention to.
There you go.
I've never liked Lizardmen. I don't know. The models sometimes are really cool.
Yeah.
But as an army, never liked it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Never liked it.
They're cool. I think it's really neat that it's a two-part, like it's a dual kit, so you can build melee ones and ranged ones.
Okay, cool.
And the ranged ones get to shoot an extra time if they're shooting at a target that's engaged by the melee ones, which I thought was really cool.
Well, that's kind of neat.
So, a lot of benefit to taking both of them in a list and working with them together. I've not built any of it yet. I was gonna build a slan last night to paint on stream today, but I'm gonna be honest, I was so tired after the event this weekend. I just wanted to like relax and veg. So I did not build anything. I also wanted to like work on the list a little bit to kind of get an idea of what exactly I wanted to have in it. So I'm gonna finalize that.
But did you build any of it? But no. He was playing cards all weekend.
I was playing cards all weekends.
He was on vacation.
But this week I will be building it in my free time after work, so that I can play a game against Phil on Saturday, assuming that he's available.
You jilted him this last weekend, so he may.
He told me to go.
He may.
That man told me to go.
After you left, he was like, he stood me up.
No, he did not. I will not accept that kind of BS from that man.
Phil's like,
he told me to go.
He stood me up.
He was like, oh, no, you should go. Because I told him, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel. I'm not sure if I'm going to go. Because we have plans. And he was like, no, you should go. And I was like, okay. Literally everybody in the office said I needed to go. I'm not taking the bullet on this one.
Jilted. Stood up Phil.
I'll make it up to him. He was excited about his pickleball anyways.
Stood up Phil. Came in this morning, Phil was all down. Oh, asked him how his weekend was. He goes, would have been better if Jordan would have left.
And never do right by you people. And I'm trying, mind you.
I forget what it was. I guess it was maybe Sunday when Christopher was like, so what's going on with Jordan and Jacob? And I go, I don't know. I haven't heard from him, so I assume that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster of an event on Saturday. That's for sure. We realized we needed to submit our deck lists at 11:50 as we were just arriving into town in Palm Springs. So we had to pull over into a gas station.
What the hell time did you guys get out of town? 7?
Yeah.
Oh, you're late.
Yeah.
Was that you or was that Jacob?
Jacob.
He was all like, Mister, we gotta be out by 6.
Yeah, he stopped at freaking Gamers Guild. He was like, oh, I'm here anyways, I might as well just stop. I was like, okay. I was like, well, while you're there, you should pick up some Seraphon stuff for me.
Oh no, so you contributed to this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he was already there.
Oh. Yeah, that makes that not as fun of a drive when you get in super late.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't too bad. The drive was relatively enjoyable. We also missed... He was like, I need to get gas. I was like, why didn't you fill up gas before we left? He's just like, I was just gonna get it on the way. I was like, okay. So we almost ran out of gas and we had to turn around on the freeway and turn back to a gas station that was 20 minutes behind us.
That sounds about right.
So
I feel like Jacob's not the most attentive to those things.
No.
Because when Carter was like going over his stuff, it's like, how long has it been since you've changed your windshield wipers? He's like, never.
Jacob is wonderful. He's not so great with directions on getting anywhere with his GPS. No offense, Jacob. Much love.
No offense, Jacob.
But I'm gonna be honest here.
Not good with directions?
I mean, he's fine with directions. I'm sure it's a combination of the two of us.
Need adult supervision on road trips, I think.
Yes. Maybe just a wee bit.
Take my time doing the priming. Build it up nice and slow.
But yeah, you guys will see Seraphon on stream here probably starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna kick it into overdrive?
Well, it's the more popular game that people around here play. And as much as I really want to get this project like on the road, I think it makes more sense from an efficiency perspective to work on a project that I'm actually going to be able to use on a regular basis.
I mean, you can play BattleTech here every day.
I got 4 mechs painted.
Every day.
I play BattleTech every day, is that what you said?
Yeah, you could.
I don't know if I can commit 2 to 3 hours of my evenings every day to play BattleTech.
Not with that attitude, you can't.
That attitude is where that attitude will remain when it comes to that.
Quitter.
That's a lot of BattleTech, my friend.
Quitter. I heard Jen has to accompany all employed personages on any and all road trips, and she's the only adult here. Is that the case? You might want to tell her. I don't think Jen wants to go to like some card game in freaking California.
Yeah.
Like she's not mom.
And I'm going to be honest. Palm Springs, California, not the coolest place to spend a weekend.
No, it's not really.
It's really not.
Boring as hell.
Yep.
Super expensive too. Getting to know the model right now, looking at all the
bits and bobs,
and dives and
yeah,
stuffs and things. There's a lot.
There's a lot
for being a not huge model. A lot going on. Complicated sculpt. It's got a lot of undercuts, a lot of overlapping bits and pieces. No joke. Priming, it's going to be one of the hardest things about it. Making sure we get primer on everything. Got some of those areas where you're just like, how do you get paint there? You just pull the trigger harder.
You know what's really funny about the game that we're playing, though? I think you'll think is funny. This is very similar to Magic.
It's very what?
It's very similar to Magic in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, every game wants to be, because it's like the king of the hill.
I'll just throw back my legs and
oh, Gosu! Tier 1 sub for 10 months. Hello.
No way.
We're doing well. I'm doing well. I'm alive. I have survived the weekend away from home. It's nice to be back.
First road trip since coming to Arizona, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's great.
Good to see you, Gosu. Thank you so much.
Good road tripping.
Motor Jumper says, "Hola, roomies, Rumios, mi amo es Juan," but that's not true.
What did this person say?
Huh?
What did this person say?
He's just making words up.
Oh.
We need a Babelfish. Chat Babelfish connection.
You could be an Android AI, Jordan? What? Wait, why? Why would I do that? Why would I be that?
Holy, can't get up in there.
Up in where?
Armpits. Back. Kind of press and pray. Just kind of point the airbrush in a direction and hope the paint goes where you need it to go. Get all up in them cracks. I guess the saving grace is that you can't see those cracks. But it'll bug me when I'm painting it. Like I said, man, so many undercuts. Crazy. Like, this is one of those models where the more you rotate it around, the more you see all the little spots you missed.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing, though, is once you get it primed out in black, it's like a lot of those places you don't ever have to paint again.
Yeah, they're just black.
There's black.
It's just, what color is that? Black.
Deep shadow. That's what color that is. Deep shadow. Tony Boy, hello. Is it possible to buy the Grex grip? Are you talking
the metal one that we have? No. Or the rubber one that we have? No. We do not sell, unfortunately, the grips separate to go on like your old Grex. We thought about it, and Grex was like, yeah, that's hard. Something about their production runs and how they make parts available and stuff is not highly conducive for custom scenarios, I guess. You could revisit it with them. That's why that's not getting any darker, because I used all the paint.
Yes, Gosu, I have been gone and now been replaced by an Android AI.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty good likeness, isn't it?
Does the Android AI need the same things that the normal Jordan does?
It actually needs double.
It needs double the amount?
Yeah.
Like what? Like food?
All of it.
Like pay?
All of it.
Oh, no, that's not happening. That's not.
It needs twice as large of an office. It needs twice as much pay, twice as much food, twice as cold of an environment, twice as warm of an environment.
You lost me like 4 sentences
Just
ago.
double all of it. Double all of it. The Life of Jordan times 2 AI edition.
I get, like, what more do I get out of this AI than I get?
You get double.
I get double?
Yeah, you get double.
Double.
Everything is
harassment?
doubled. It's all doubled. Double, 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 double.
Double in, double out?
Double in, double out.
Very confuzzled.
I'm being honest, so am I. Yeah, double the heresy.
That's the part I'm worried about.
Double the BattleTech commitment.
I don't know that I want double the heresy. There's already a lot of that flowing around here. Seems like he's getting more people turned to his side. I don't understand this.
Sow the seeds of chaos. Tell the members of the Imperium the true truth.
That's not how that works, but okay.
Yep. And the truth is, chaos is where we belonged the whole time. Emperor is the true evil. Okay, Erebus, slow your roll.
I feel like I'm just going to run with that. Good enough for government work.
I do. You're going to want this one.
Okay, Herb.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good.
Arctic's on to you. Welcome to Monday, chat.
Yep. Welcome to a delightful little Monday.
Got some questions for you.
Ooh.
Unbeknownst to Mr. Baby J here,
Uh-oh.
I've been pondering
Oh, no.
how we might look at the stream schedule and alter said schedule to be able to do some new fun things we want. We want to have Jen be able to be on the stream all the time as a producer, chat navigator extraordinaire, camera operator. So we're thinking internally on how we can do that, and a lot of it comes down to timing, right? We don't want to have the stream run a bunch different
Walking harder
every day.
I don't necessarily think that that's what he has in mind.
What's that? All day? Full work days all day. Yeah,
walking harder just said making Baby Jew work weekends is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day stream.
Yeah.
We've already got a cot planned out for Baby J.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a little bit smaller than a twin bed. All we could really afford was like a baby. Whatever you call it.
Yep. My life for Monument Hobbies. If anybody gets that reference, you're wonderful.
Dower, is that the lotto winning numbers? Dower says it's got to be better than the last crib we hooked him up with. Hey, wait. All we can do is lead horses to water here. He got a good apartment out of that. Double the work because he's AI. He said it, not me. The Painty Man's Truman Show. It's just the life of Jordan. Hey, Jordan. This is your life. What else do I get to do, boss? Nothing.
How uncomfortable.
Nothing.
How uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, Jordan. You can always just say no.
Oh, yeah? Can't I? Can't I just say no?
No, but seriously, like on the stream days, we're thinking, we still want to keep Monday through Friday. That's not going to change. But would it, and I'm just tossing spaghetti against the wall right now, guys. This is no plan. Jen and I sat down and talked about it momentarily today, but no plan. So don't worry. We wanted to talk to chat. So chat, you're here. We're talking to you. What would work? Would it work if every day was at the same time? Like, what if we moved from like 2 to 4 into the day on the stream? Right? Right now it's a little awkward because we do this like 12 to 2 thing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so then after the 12 to 2 bit, you know, we're trying to figure out how to get back to work and be productive for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Or
less. If we go late,
yeah,
then, you know, we've like only been able to do about a half a day's work. So as we grow, obviously we need to be doing more work. So what could we do? My first thought was that we go to like 2 to 4 every day. We cut Tuesdays and Thursdays streams down by an hour.
Yeah.
But be at the consistent time frame all the time. So that would be 5 to 7 Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. So we'll see. Thoughts? Chat? We're actually asking. I don't know if that means that you'll have any sway, but we like to ask chat just so they feel involved. Lion 12 to 2 because you can watch more of it. The other schedule you only see an hour a day. Yeah, and if we were in the vibe, we could go longer if we wanted to. And the day would already be over, right? This is the part where we give our input that Jason will promptly ignore and go on with whatever he had in mind anyway. Punisher's been here too long.
Yup. True.
You've been here too long if you've already figured out my...
True.
You know me too well. Someone show that man the exit.
Like, Punisher, what stream times are you not able to be here for? Stuff for Europe.
That's when your real life kicks in, Venti? Yeah. Well, that's my fear, is that we do have a lot of viewers that watch like during their work or, you know, during their time before having to be like, you know, family time and all that. So, you know, we understand the pressure that would put. So we're trying to figure it out, right?
And it is important to us that we keep...
Border Jumper 2 to 4 Pacific. We've always done our stream timing in Pacific. Half the year we're Pacific. Well, all the year we're Mountain Standard Time. But people don't know what that means. So half the year we're Pacific Time, which is right now. So we have the same clock that California does right now, that the West Coast does here in Phoenix. The other 6 months of the year, we're the same as Denver, Colorado. So just to give you an idea how screwed up it is around here, right? But we rather than have the time change for you guys and gals throughout the year, because half the year the stream would be at a different time if we did that, we always just force it to Pacific. We lock the stream to Pacific. Griggs, what's going on, man? You watch at work, and that ends at 5 Central. So 5 Central is 3 here, right? Yeah. So you'd only be able to catch an hour line. Yeah. Yep. And then the other part of the year, it would be 4. Right? Well, it only changes for us. It'd always be the same for you. It's not 4 Mountain.
Which would be
wait a minute.
3 to 5?
I don't know what Kriegs is talking about. 2 to 4 specifically Mountain Time. No, in Mountain Time, it would be 3 to 5 every day. Well, Punisher would work for you because the times would be the same. It'd be the Tuesday, Thursday times all through the week is what we're thinking about. Push Monday, Wednesday, Friday to the end of the day too, so that around here at least we are always streaming at that time where we're finishing our day with a stream. So we load all of our work day ahead of it and then finish our day with a stream.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird right now. Sometimes we're like, I'll get in at 8, and then I have 3 hours to do stuff. Then I got to take a lunch, get back. Then we have like an hour before I leave.
Border Jumper, our European people would be affected tremendously because the show today starts at 8 to 9 p.m. for them already and goes till, 10 to 11 p.m. So we know that Europe would be affected tremendously. The other thing is that we could start some where we do the first 2 hours of the day, that's just rough.
Like 8 to 10?
like 10 to 12 we could do, and then do 12 to 4 working. We just would never be able to run long. You know, if we came in and we did like 9 to 11 or 10 to noon.
We'd have to be doing exactly 2 hours.
We'd be 10 to noon, do exactly 2 hours.
Just a little bit
break
of a
for lunch right after the stream. And then have the last 3 hours of the day to get stuff done. So you still have.
It's tough because like I really
breaking
like having
putting
the
the stream in the middle of the day hurts because it causes you to have to shut down what you're doing a little bit early to get everything set for the stream.
Correct.
And then when the stream's done, you got to get back into the mindset of doing what it was you were doing before.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough. So you lose time is the real thing. And unfortunately, as we grow, we have to figure these things out because we can't lose time. Right? Internally, we just can't lose time. We have too much we have to do. And that list only gets longer and longer and longer. So
I think going to the end of the day, I think makes
go Swarm. What's going on?
Sense.
Punisher, if it's a 4 in time, you'll just be getting set up by the time you're ending. Wait a minute. You try to schedule your hobby time after work with you guys on those days, I'll still be around whenever and just watch at work if it's earlier times, though. That doesn't make sense, Punisher, because it'd be the same times as Tuesday, Thursday, which you say you like, right? It'd just be all week would be the same times. Go Swarm, I'm about to have the first coffee of the day. Holy crap. Where are you that it's the first? Are you in Australia? First coffee of the day. Enjoy it.
From the future.
Oh, yeah, because we go later, Punisher. I see what you're saying. Australia, yeah, that's what I figured. All right, here we go. Let's figure out some colors here. I don't know what I want to do. I guess we got to figure out where we're going to start is the first question. He's got some fabric-y stuff I got to figure out. I can't just jump straight into the armor. I need to do the fabric-y things. Got a leather shirt. Probably some form of undershirt underneath that. Got pants. Skirt. All has to be figured out. And then metal. Let's get going. Let's figure this out. Let's do
He's got that like tunic.
Let's and I can't tell what's going on up around his neck. Like if there's a gorget off of this chest piece. I think I'm going to consider that the answer there is yes. Maybe. I feel like the answer is yes. The cloak comes in and clasps up around his sternum. But underneath that is this chest plate. I can't imagine that's supposed to be cloth up under there because it's way out front. Like it's at the depth of his chin. So I feel like that will be painted like a gorget. Because you wouldn't have your shirt be that far out. Adam's apple. There would be a big dip if that was the case. So, that being said, what color do we want to do this leather shirt? Oh, he's got some bare skin too, right? Like his hands
Face.
And the arm at the elbow. Yeah, and the face, of course. He does have like skin stretched tight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh boy, kind of neat. It's not like raw bone necessarily, but his teeth are all exposed, but he still has a little bit of gum on the bottom. Ooh, okay. Okay, I see. I get it. No real well, there might be some exposed bone up in the elbows, though. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think the tunic shirt thing will be maybe brown leather. Obviously, the whole breastplate will be metallic. Pants could be the same brown leather as the tunic. That makes sense. A little darker. We'll start there. I think. Some warm brown. Black brown. Whatever lets Jen be part of the stream more. Yeah, the goal would be that she'd be on it every day that she's able to be. I know that's a fairly generic statement, but that would be every day other than when she's unavailable. Right? Would be kind of cool. Your boss would be okay with that change. You'll actually go back to work. Yeah, because Jen misses you guys, so the more Jen we could get on here would be great. I think here. 6. I've used all my bigger brushes, worn them to the nub, doing washes and stuff because we've been doing so many washes lately. Guess we got to decide. There's visible something underneath the tunic. Would the tunic have like a nightshirt underneath it? The leather tunic? Have a cloth?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Because where the ties come together on the front, there's a gap. Crisis, what's going on? Thank you for the follow.
Thank you so much for the follow.
Welcome for everybody that's new. We are Monument Hobbies. My name's Jason. That over there is Jordan.
Hi, how's it going? I'm alive.
He survived the weekend trip to California to do crazy card gaming.
It was, in fact, a weekend of crazy card gaming. That is for sure. Crazy weekend. But it was fun. Had a good time. Jacob's one to travel with.
Good. And what kind of Airbnb did you get? Like a house?
It was just like a room in somebody's house or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But it had 2 beds?
Just one. He slept on the floor. Electively.
That's hard road tripping right there.
Yep.
Is the commitment to style road trip right there.
I did not book it. He booked it. Booked it and was like, yo, it's booked. You should come.
Here's the deal. I feel like that's leather thigh plate. It's just pants. Pants, they sculpted a tear in the pants along the seam up by the crotchal region.
Sounds like fun to paint.
Doesn't do me any good at all. I can't make that interesting. Period. Never see it. Black, brown, and that's how that works. The Death Knight from Journeyman Miniatures, available on our website. Should you want to paint along? Well, I don't know that you'll have time to paint along. If you haven't already got one. But if you would like to come back follow along with the videos on this one. I might be able to be coerced, as it were, put this series up on
Don't worry, Chad, I'll force him.
YouTube or something.
I'll make sure it gets up there.
As you guys and gals listen to me talk about how I have no idea what color I want to paint any of this crap. Because I feel like that's going to be my motto all throughout.
I don't know what color I'm going to paint this crap.
No idea what I'm doing. Having fun.
I mean, that's all that
That's
matters.
the thing with miniature painting, right? Is that I don't have to know what's going on. I just need to do it. Because it is so fun.
You don't have to know what you're doing. You just have to know how you're gonna do it.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
I mean, do you know
I'm
how to
not
put a
going
paint
that far.
on a model?
Huh?
You know how to put paint on a model?
Questionable.
Well, at least I'm here.
Very questionable.
Unless I don't know how to put paint on a model, in which case, what am I doing here?
Very questionable. I don't know that I would trust us.
Chat, are we trustworthy?
I don't know. Sure, don't ask them. Bright jade, bright yellow green, and pale pink. Those are your colors. Oh, really?
Is that how this works?
You're not the boss of me. That's my first answer.
Hey, Jason.
What?
Red armor.
Red armor? Yeah, I think red armor could be cool. I have to think about what I would do to make it not too outlandish. And then what would I do with the cloak? Is the cloak then purple?
You could just do like a purpley black. Like a black with like purpley highlights.
Yeah.
You can incorporate some purple into the like the shadows of the armor.
Yeah.
And then you could do skin in like a cool, like bluish pale tone, maybe with some purple in it as well. You could do the trim in gold, or you could just do the whole armor in red. That's kind of up to you. You do silver trim with gold armor. Also looks nice. The world is your oyster.
This I know. That's never a help. It's always like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. Well, that doesn't help me at all. What if I don't want to do whatever I want? Wait a minute. And I'm starting with black brown on the leather bits. Of which, that's all there is.
Black brown on the leather bits.
And
Awesome.
2 little spots of leg that are leather. And the gut. There. A little bit of the warm brown in with the black brown. You need to pick where a light is. Probably.
Yep.
Sooner than later kind of timing.
That is very much a thing that should be done. See you, Arctic Mini Painting Studio.
You gotta take it easy, man. What if we paid Jen? I mean, how much are we talking? Not that I can accept on Jen's behalf or anything, but how much are we talking? We can always be bribed.
Ugh. You have to be on stream every day, Jen. All day, every day.
Did you see my response, Jordan, to the guy that said the price of the bag ought to include a jetpack?
No. I missed that one.
Yeah. So I don't know, Chad, if you guys have been following along in the antics that are the Go Bag Evo pricing detractors on the web.
It's so funny.
We have collected our own groupies who are trying to pressure us into lowering the price of the bag by, like, oh, I don't know, 75% generally. They kind of want it for free, I think. And the one guy was like, he's in Canada, so in Canada, the bag here is 195 US, and in Canada that makes it like 250, 270, something like that, depending on exchange rate any given day, spot rate. Yeah. And so he's like, at 270, it should include a jetpack. And so I answered it. I found a link for a company that sells jetpacks. And I put on there, I said, well, we were going to add this to it. I said, but with all the people worried about it being 195 US dollars right now, we figured over 10,000 was probably going to piss everybody off.
Amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
No. Jen, you have to be on stream, not watching stream. Active participant.
T. Schmidt says that always feels like your motto, then you turn out something kick-ass. Well, I never know what I'm doing, is the thing, right? So, like, the reality is I really never know what I'm doing, and it just kind of evolves. The last fantasy miniature that we painted was also, right, a display model. We're not quite done. We still have to do our katana, by the way. You know, so I don't want to do the same style coloring that we've done recently. But fantasy models give you a lot of leeway. You can put a lot of color in them, but they're usually very desaturated. This guy's a Death Knight, so I feel like the desaturation is real on him, right?
Is key. It is important.
It's part of the storytelling.
Has a life of its own, or an unlife of its own.
And he has very, very intricate armor. So the idea of it being very, like it being red makes some sense, right? I could do the armor in reds, and that would make some sense. But I'm painting all of these blood angels. So it kind of makes me not want to do red non-metallic, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm talking about even more like, I'm talking about like candy coat red, which would be a very different look.
Yeah, but then that makes it super bright and shiny. Like, why would he be wearing super bright and shiny armor? Is he the guy that sits around and polishes his armor? I mean, I guess we could go that way. Like, he is like the gentleman Death Knight. Like, his stuff is...
I mean, he's got a cup of something in his hand. How beat up does his armor look?
Not.
Yeah, because I don't remember there being any scratches or nicks on his.
No, everything is actually in pretty good shape now that you mention it. Yeah. The leather's got some tears up in the crotch already.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the thing about armor is like you don't just let it get all used and up. Like, generally, if you have armor that's ornate like that, you take care of it. cleaned, it gets repaired. But I will freely admit, doing red glossy armor like that is a pain in the butt. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I don't think so, though, because this armor is so intricate. I think the shinier you go, the worse it's going to look, because the more these layered panels are going to cause there to be lots and lots of contrast in weird ways. I think at that point, I like to reserve really bright, shiny stuff for larger areas.
Yeah.
Because the eye recognizes what it's seeing. Here it might be really tough, because, I mean, all of this stuff has, like, stuff embossed all over.
Yeah.
Like textures and stuff. That's going to be...
You just do silver or brass or bronze or something like that, then?
incredibly tough to pull. Make it look... I do super shiny. Doesn't mean we can't still do shiny.
Yeah. It is more difficult. It is a lot of work.
Well, it doesn't matter about the work. It's that it isn't going to look good at this scale. Because if you... It's the disco ball effect. You have too many points of brightness if you have all of these changes in the emboss and all these levels.
You're
and you
not
do
wrong.
something super gloss. You wind up with all these starlight pricks of light going everywhere, and then you lose all the detail because it blows out all of the midtones everywhere. And like all through here, there's so much detail. And yes, it adds a ton of time.
I did
painting.
forget that there's so much of that like little trim in there.
Yeah, like it would work on like these plates on the side because they're just 4-layered plates. Everything else is like, I mean, these faces are crazy. The helmet even has like embossing textures all running around the face. He's a crazy.
But he's a crazy.
It's a very crazy. Is he a Death Knight because he's undead? Or is he a Death Knight because he delivers death? And I think the answer is yes, like Punisher says. I like the idea of the green for the skirt. Like, I think like a heavy woolen green skirt would be good. Even the cloak could actually be greens. But a lot of it really depends on whether or not I want to go with more white metal for the armor or yellow metal for the armor, if we're doing just metallic colors. Because if we go gold, then the green and the browns work really well with the gold. But if I want to go with like a purple underlayment for my gold, or bronzish colors, then maybe we could do the armor as like very greenish.
Yeah.
And not use like yellow ochre in the bronze. We could just go from the greens into like khaki as yellow as we get, and then into the ivories or olive fleshes.
You just go like ridiculous level of gold, like metallic gold.
Yeah.
So much so that it just like doesn't look yellow at all, looks like green.
Yeah. And then we could add the warmth back in on like the blood red cloak, blood red skirt. Could be kind of neat. I do like the idea of having some red in there.
He doesn't have any gems, does he?
Not that I'm seeing right now. No gems up or anything. It's all just gilded metal.
Yeah.
Like crazy amounts of metal.
Well, here you go, Chad. If you want a challenging non-metallic metal piece, this is the one for you.
Any choices? use a more stippling style approach, just kind of smudging highlight color on there. I say highlight, this warm brown, just kind of smashing it on there so I can start getting that worn leather texture underpinned on the model. Rather than painting nice and neat lines along the highlight, let there be some variation. Got water over there?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll be right back.
Everything should be jade. Not true. But maybe true. Not far off. You may not be super wrong. Throwing some color around and see what we like. Start with maybe dark. Actually, maybe Payne's Gray first. I really like the Payne's Gray dark plum interaction going into red, so let's start with a Payne's Gray on the skirt. See how we like it. Gonna go, I like the idea of green as a main underpinning hue for the armor. We're gonna do that, then we can stand to use some blues, shadows for our reds, not have to rely on purple.
Purple reflections in the green. Cool. Chat, I think it's pretty cool. I like the ideas. I like where he's going with it.
Could you, Punisher, could you do a sort of desaturated gray jade for what? What are we talking about? What material are you thinking of with a desaturated, like, toned out jade? Cloth we were thinking about doing in greens. I'm doing reds now.
You doing the cloth in red?
Yeah. Like purplish reds.
Been gone for 30 seconds. What changed?
No, I said before you left that I'm going to do the armor in greens. We just went through this.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
People don't listen to me.
Oh, I do. I promise I do.
People don't listen to me.
Sometimes.
I like the idea of the armor in the green rather than the cloth. The cloth in the green limits what I can do with the armor and really feel good about it. It puts me into like yellow metals looking a lot better than white metals, right? And then I want to find more warmth, I think, in it, unless I did something, super warm green. But I don't think that makes sense. Then we can take the dark plum.
Part of the reason why I also didn't bring my Seraphon today is I'm trying to work out a scheme for them.
Because they weren't built.
Well, also, I chose to not build anything.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons why I didn't build anything. Because I was like, well, I could bring it in tomorrow, but I don't know what I would paint it.
I feel like being gone all weekend is a pretty good excuse. They're off having a good time.
I mean, I had time last night to build stuff.
Now you're just digging a hole for yourself, because now we all want to know why you don't have stuff built.
I've been giving explanations for that the whole stream.
Those are just excuses.
Ah.
See?
He could have built them in the car.
See?
No.
Getting himself in trouble over here, Chad.
No. Could not
I gave
have built them
I gave him multiple outs right there, Chad. You saw it. You saw it.
Chad, you see nothing.
Chat sees all.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
These are not the droids you're looking for. That was last week, buddy.
It works. It works. It's okay.
I love that combo. Payne's Gray Dark Plum. So good.
So it was interesting to me, like, finding out what the go-to colors are for people. Outside of Jade, which is kind of just like a go-to color for everybody. Because it's so good.
Yeah.
What are some of those other colors that you tend to use all the time?
I mean, that's a tough one for me because I use like every color all the time.
Yeah, I use a lot of stuff
It's so
too.
much easier to say what colors I don't use.
Yeah.
I don't use much ivory. I tend to go from
Pale yellows.
olive flesh to bright ivory. And I don't use as much ivory. But now that we have dark ivory, I think dark ivory and ivory are fantastic together. So,
yeah. Yep.
So it's constantly changing, and I think it always, as it should, it depends on the piece quite a bit. Yes, I'm going to rely on maybe the arms. Bone there. Bit bone and skin hanging off of them. I'm going to say I could just do it as the skin really tight around the bone, but there's individual separation between parts of the out of this case, so I don't know that I can get Hmm.
All right, chat. So what's the feeling? Do you guys want to see Seraphon tomorrow? Is that what I'm hearing? Do I hear the votes for the Seraphon in chat? Yes, walking harder. Songer says yes. Okay, all right. Oh, what's up, Mo? How's it going?
Mo, what's happening? Eachman says, I'm just here for the ride. You pay and I watch. That keeps it easy. Right. It keeps it very easy.
I am much happier with these paint jobs now that the metal is more in line with oh gosh.
Don't do that.
Breaking stuff. Breaking stuff, chat.
I'm breaking stuff.
Oh, Mo says he's got a Death Knight ready for priming on your deck. Are you gonna paint along, Mo?
Behind, baby.
Thanks, Mo.
This train has no brakes.
Oh, we got a Wad Tomato. I haven't looked up in chatting for a minute. Wad Tomato N, walking harder. Mo's, Songer. Punch has been here for a while.
You ever see a point where you might discontinue colors? Good question. It's something we talk about, like what happens if we need a space. I guess if we ever looked back and we said, hey, you know, these colors are so close, we feel like they interfere with each other's sales, and while, you know, it's always tough to think that you might take a color away because somebody might have that as their favorite color, right? I guess we could possibly look at replacing colors down the road. You know, it's very tough for us because we don't have any colors that don't sell well. All of our colors sell exceptionally well, and then there are just some colors that sell even better. So, from that standpoint, it's a difficult thing to say either way right now. But, you know, from a business perspective, I can see why we might later on down the road. Just depends.
Mo, don't let that deter you. Who said you had to follow along with exactly what he's doing? You can follow along with painting your own.
Jason will do some silly non-metallic metal, and then I'll get lost. I mean, you don't have to get lost.
Look, if I can survive this guy, you can survive this guy too. I have faith, Mo.
Right? That bad?
I didn't say anything about bad. Look at what I have to deal with, chat.
For you.
Yeah, for me.
Buy it for an instant, chat.
That's just what an AI would say.
Oh, that's right. It's Baby J the AI today.
Beep boop.
Beep boop.
I am the robot.
Beep boop.
Beep boop.
Dark plum. Then let's move into twist burgundy. Sarge, what's going on? As you learn, have you thought about changing the formula on some of your first run paints? How do you mean? Formula in what? The formula is the same on all the paints, unless you're talking about coloring, like pigments, right? Formula is the same. The way certain pigments react inside of our formula can vary because the pigments have a different chemical component. Not all pigments react the same way, depending on natural or synthetic pigments. We use a tremendous amount of synthetic pigment. In place of things like cadmium.
Which y'all genuinely don't want around you.
Yeah, you're not going to be using that kind of stuff. Again, applying my color with the texture already there, as opposed to painting it on first and then trying to texture over it. You all right over there?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know if it's just like me getting back used to this weather or something.
That's different in Palms.
I don't know if I just like word bad. It's all scratchy this morning. It is odd. If it's not USDA approved paint, I don't want it. Well,
USDA?
Yeah.
I don't think they have anything to do with paint.
They most certainly do not. Walking Harder, they certainly do
Department
not.
of Agriculture, probably not involved in our paint making. The FDA, also not involved in our paint making. Get zoomed in on that so you can see what I've got going on here. Right, applying the color with the texture. Because it would be very easy right now to just want to kind of paint along these lines and folds. But what you really want to do is go in and kind of use the texture. And here I'm using more of a stippling, although more of a smudge, smacking kind of a. So get color on there so that the texture is baked in. Then you just work that texture along the same spots that you would have, run your highlights anyway. And it works very well. You just have to make sure you're not using a very thin paint, so that it isn't something that you're trying to texture up a million times. Although I will be honest with you, sometimes when doing leather and wool like this, you will start a little bit thinner, build up the first layer, and then start going with more and more opacity as you go layer to layer, so that you get kind of a cloudy, milky texture built up that gives depth. I like doing that on stone. We have deep, more quartzy looking stone that has lots of layers, granite, things like that are semi-translucent. This is all opaque cloth, so we're not really trying to get a crazy amount of depth to it. We just want to make sure that our values as we go build up for the scratchiness. I haven't determined what I want to do for this, if it wants to be wool or if it wants to be a leather skirt. I kind of like the idea of it being a leather skirt. The way it's sculpted is almost the same as the leather shirt and the pants. The way it's folds, it's a heavier fabric because it has these folds even when the leg is straight and there's nothing to really be pulling. Whereas you can see like this big heavy wool cloak would be kind of neat to do in the dot, more of a dot stippled pattern, I think would work.
Mm-hmm. Throwing some of these dark purpley tones into the shadows of the armor here. Color in line with what we got on the dreadnought. I think time to base coat a whole bunch of silver. Dark neutral gray. Come to Papa.
What was that?
Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. All fine. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
Sarge says your Sons of Horus are looking awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I am enjoying it so far. I'm glad that I finally kind of settled on a scheme that I enjoyed, that I can replicate nice and easily. It's a good feeling to just kind of like hit it and just be like, all right, this is the thing. Just I got to do all the things. That made no sense.
It does. We knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. I know what to do now. I have the recipe in my head. Got it all planned out. All I have to do is just execute on it, which is what I am doing now.
He's speaking in chaos tongues again. This is true.
Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah.
That's not how that works.
Blah blah blah.
You're just saying blah 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 blah.
Well, no,
there's nothing hidden inside
chaos,
of blah.
Chaos tongues.
There's nothing hidden inside blah.
That's because you do not speak the chaos tongues.
That's a very lazy way to do that. Very lazy. I expect more from you.
Orange juice, orange juice, orange juice, orange juice, orange juice, orange juice.
I feel like that's also very lazy. It's like,
hey, I gave it more.
Damn.
What more do you want from me?
Oh, don't ask. Don't ask questions you're not gonna like the answers to.
Oh, ho, ho.
I'm going in with burnt red. Same thing, but I'm gonna a much lighter stippling. The burnt red and the burgundy are nearly the exact same value. There's not much difference in brightness on them. What I'm using the burnt red over the burgundy for, the burgundy set up a really nice transition out of the dark plum and blue. And now the burnt red is going to start shifting all of this into the kind of bloody red that I want this leather to be, kind of an ox blood. You know the color? Going over the same areas that we just did with the burgundy, but with a looser dot pattern. So it just starts moving it a little bit towards the red side. And this is one where I want to run the paint a little bit thinner than we did with the burgundy too. Because it's kind of a filter, but we're still doing it with a textured application. That makes sense. Finger blot.
Probably not a layer that you guys will be able to see super well because of how dark it is. But it's there, chat. It exists.
What are you doing right now? On the greens?
I'm base coating all the gray.
Oh.
For a non-metallic
Like
panel.
for
the
okay,
silver.
yeah.
The dark neutral gray is probably pretty dark. Show up on stream very well, I don't think.
Aha, that did. You're seeing that.
Here you go.
Much, much thinner burnt red. Go in and blaze into our shadows. This we're not stippling. This is just a complete filter over everything. I can kind of patch it and do it in different directions as opposed to when I would normally glaze. I'd make sure that my brush direction stays fairly similar through the whole process. Here I can kind of be more loose with it so I keep my texture going. Break every one of this guy's fingers off.
Break his fingers off. Don't do it.
Not on purpose. Not like in a Tony Soprano kind of way.
Good to be home.
Yeah, I thought you were gone for a year. You were gone for like one day. So you got back yesterday. You were gone for one day. You said you had enough time here yesterday to build models, so you're gone for one, maybe 1.5. I'd give you.
We didn't get back until like. We got back at like 7 o'clock.
Whatever, dude.
What?
Don't make me pull out my phone when I texted Jacob, and he goes, "We're an hour away," and that was 4 o'clock. Of course, he may not know how time.
That was certainly not. I definitely got home at like 6:40, maybe even later.
Brown.
And you're doing that like greenish metallic color for the armor?
That's my thought. I'm going to play around with this for a minute. I'm going to get some khaki out here, which has become my ultimate tinting mix. That.
CPL Toast. A couple non-metallic questions. What colors were used for that gold banner holder thing? And
I love it. That's what I was calling it. It's the gold banner holder
It's
thing.
a weird banner. And what would you recommend for more of a shiny bronze? So we'll start with the first part of that question. So my first layer of color on this is where is it? We got golden or dark golden brown and dark plum. The 50-50 mix of these two gives you kind of like a nice warm purpley brown. And then from there you add a little bit of yellow ochre. Not a ton, just enough to like give it a little bit of value. And then from there you mix in some khaki.
You can kill that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot.
Some khaki. And then you kind of just like add progressive amounts of khaki until you hit like really bright ting highlights. And that is the metallic.
That is the way.
That is in fact the way. So that's how you get that. I can work on this banner in the back so you can kind of see it a little bit better. And then after, the other thing I forgot to mention is after I'm done with that layering and texture blending, I go back in with a glaze of the purple magenta by itself, or the dark plum, sorry. Purple. A long weekend. With the dark purple, and then I glaze a little bit of the dark purple into the shadows to create this like really nice warm like purpley tone. Adds a lot of like visual interest to the gold. And I do it in I do it up here, I do it down on these armor plates here with the trim. Looks nice. Ooh, your leather's looking nice.
So say we all.
So say we all.
That's
Ooh.
just a little bit of the warm brown with khaki to get that little hint of brightness going. I did that because
I do. I love Battlestar Galactica.
I did that for you.
So say we all. That show's so good. It is my favorite show.
Favorite show, really?
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt?
I think so.
Wow, that's a good one. A big admission for you there.
I think it's my favorite show. A big admission?
Well, I mean, it's not admission, like, you know.
It's a big thing to say.
Big thing to say, right? To choose one. Like, I always have a hard time being like, oh, God.
It's there's something about it. So one of the things that you may or may not know about me yet, I am really interested, while I may not be, I'll just say it this way. I find theology fascinating.
Sure. So do I.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
And I really find it interesting when it's implemented in interesting ways in media. Be it like weird takes on it or things where there's like subtle hints about like stuff. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a little cool tidbit, right? So I really like how there's a really, really, really heavy undertone of like religion in Battlestar.
The whole thing's about God.
It is about God.
The whole thing is about God.
Well, the whole thing is about humanity, but also about God.
Finding your creator, and whether its importance is relevant.
Yeah, to some extent. Yeah, it's not quite as obvious as that, but there's a lot of like they talk a lot about like God and stuff in the context of the world or the universe that they have created. And it's really interesting that like the Cylons believe in a god as AI robots. And it's not necessarily humans. It's like I find it really interesting. I also think it's just some of the best like political sci-fi that I've seen. Because I don't think that The Expanse really hits on it quite as well as it probably should. Because it's all about building a society, right? It's the last remnants of humanity drifting off into the emptiness of space and trying to find a new home. And in the interim, trying to figure out how to survive and how to create a society that has rules of law, but it's also, everything's based on the past. And it's like, well, those things don't necessarily work for the current environment. So how do we change them? There's a lot of like really interesting elections that happen during the show. Because president of the colonies is like a really big thing. It's great. It's really good. I will always love that show with all of my heart. Babylon 5 for you, Agushaku. You ever read The Joy of Sects? You'd probably enjoy it. I have not. Yeah, it is definitely... what's really funny about it, Walking Harder, is the more you watch the show, the more you think deeply about it. Which is something I found out like the second or third time I watched through the show. And the more I watched it, the more I was getting a lot more of the undertones of the show to come through from the beginning. And as a result, enjoyed it a lot more. It made the final seasons a lot more interesting, which is largely considered to be some of the worst parts of the show for a lot of people. But I really enjoyed it. It just gets kind of dreary and depressing. Stonewall, we're talking about Battlestar Galactica, specifically the 2004 remake, not the original series, as they are completely different shows. Speaking of books, did you get a chance to partake during the weekend? No judgments if you didn't, or if you didn't like it.
I can see that I think I will find it enjoyable.
Yeah.
It kind of needs to get out of its own way and start tying some things together. Because it's kind of all over the place.
Yes. That's why it was very difficult for me to read the first time that I read through it.
I'm like, I get it, but I also understand why people are like, yeah, like, seriously.
So where are you at?
I'm still might as well be right at the beginning, right? I think there's somebody named Sorry.
Yeah. So you're past the part with
like, what happened with the old witch?
Okay.
Is that now the girl? Did she jump into the body of the girl?
No. Sort of. I won't get into that too deeply. It gets into spoiler territory. But I'll put it this way.
I'm into, what is the main character's name? Bad, because I don't even care right now.
Perrin,
right?
Yeah.
Because nobody's done anything that makes me care about them right now.
Yes.
Because it just keeps setting crap up, right?
Yes.
The Fisher girl gets taken by the sorcerers. I don't know what they do to her father. They're nowhere to be found. Perrin gets. So
here's the thing that I will explain to you that might make these first couple of parts of the book make more sense. The massacre that Perrin is talking about, is the fish.
He's partaking in it.
Well, he wasn't partaking in it.
He is, because he's having to clean it up.
Well, he's cleaning up. Yeah. So that is the little girl's fishing village.
No, I get that. I understand that. That's easy to follow.
And they're trying to find the adjunct is trying to find
the sorcerers. The adjunct figures out that this was sorcery that did this.
Yeah.
That it's a diversion of some sort, and they need to come.
Yes.
So she gets Perrin, or whatever his name is, to. He says that you're not going to go be at the palace, and get some cush job because you're royalty or thin blood, they call it. You're going to come work with me, because he was truthful with her. Spoke to her like nobody else would. So he gets sequestered to go be her right hand.
Yeah.
And crows are eating bodies and all that. Yada yada.
Yeah.
But the Fisher girl doesn't make any sense. Then she turns up at like a port. Isn't that Sorry?
Yes.
Fishing girl?
Sorry is the fishing girl, yeah.
So then she shows up wanting to be part of the Navy.
Yes.
Out of nowhere. So that's a weird jump.
So there's the thing that's to realize is like something has changed about this girl.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Because she went
it even
from being
says she's not using her own voice and all this.
Yes.
But that was when the old lady died. So that's why I'm like, well, the old lady's got to be inside of her or something.
Yes.
And now she's going to be part of the Navy, but the sorcerers took her, so that must be subversive.
So the sorcerers did something to her. The old lady did not do something to her in a negative sense. The old lady could see the future.
Right.
And knew what was going to happen to this girl. And so she did something. As she died.
To try to help the girl out?
Yes. Which comes up later.
I'll catch up. It's just, it's like, it's telling a lot of things that seem like they're important without telling them in a way that makes them, their importance recognizable. Which I don't like baking in that I got to read your book twice to figure everything out. Or that later on I got to go back and read the beginning because now you're starting to finally introduce me to things that make sense.
I will say...
I'm like, this stuff needs to make sense now and not be so, like, I have to hunt it out so hard right now. I don't want you to line it out. I want it to be a thinking man's book, and I can see that that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of it that's left to severe speculation right at the beginning and not telling any of the story.
I will say you are getting to the point where things start to converge a little bit more.
I mean, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know that there's a war. You don't know if there's bad things happening. You don't know that what the sides are. You don't know what the struggle is. At this point in the book, you don't have any idea why this book exists. You don't have any idea why any of these people exist in their roles.
Yes.
You just know that these people don't like sorcerers and hunt them. Why?
Yeah.
There's no explanation about why. No explanation about anything that's going on. I'm not distressed with it. I'm just like, would have been good to have like some sort of primer baked into the story already, so that you knew who the players were, why some of these things were happening.
Yes.
And you don't. You have some cool characters so far. So.
Yeah. It more or less has to do with like control and like influence of gods in the mortal plane sort of stuff. Why they hunt down.
I get it.
Specifically her. She's like the only one who. Have you gotten to the bits with Tattersail in it yet?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Tattersail is like a cadre mage for the army. Okay. Then you probably just finished at the point where Sari enlists.
Katarina, Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Book 1.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting read so far. I'm not down on it. I'm ready to invest some time to figure it out, but
I would encourage you to
good God, man. Spit it out. Tell me some of the stuff that's important so I have an idea of, even if it's not right, even if you're telling me like, oh, these are the good guys in the book because that's what they think they are when really they're not. I'd rather have something happening that lets me know that there is a reason to read this damn book. Because right now there's no defined struggle, right? And the quintessential parts of writing are to define a struggle, right? Define a set of people who, you know, are going to help you go to the path to the completion or resolution of the struggle, right? And there's none of that right now. There's just a bunch of characters doing some things. I don't have any reason why they're doing the things. I don't have any reason why I should be emotionally attached to any of these characters. You know, I just happen to know that because they're talking about this kid and they did a historic view of him, Perrin, or whatever his name is.
Perrin, yeah.
That he's got to be important. One of the main characters, I assume. But, you know, there's nothing in there that makes it part of a journey. It's just weird, you know, that I'm this far into the book and there's not really anything that defines the reason for the book's existence.
The basic plot of this story in this book is the Malazan Empire is coming to the end of their campaign to take over the world, basically.
Okay.
All the various different continents. There's like 3 different major cities that are still holdouts. One of which is 7 cities, some place far to the south, and then a place that you are just about to see in literally the next chapter.
Well, I mean, like the sorcerers were like, you know, it would be a shame if the Empress were to die and we weren't there to help, you know, because I assume they're trying to kill her.
Yeah. She did some shady shit. Excuse me. Pardon me. That was bad.
Well, I mean, there's just no story that tells you that. You don't find that out till later in the book.
Yeah.
And that's just distressing to me. It's like,
it definitely tells you nothing and says, all right, just keep reading. Keep reading. It will make sense eventually. Keep reading. Which is tough. It is a very difficult thing. I mean, like I said, I've read the book 3 times.
It's a very bad way to write a book because you will lose more people than you will gain. You will gain followers who stick with it and read the book, and it'll be great, and they'll love it. And like you, they'll keep coming back and read it 4 times or whatever, and that's great.
Yeah.
But now I understand why he's lost so many readers.
Yep.
Because it's like, dude, you could have very simply just given us some... I don't mean tell the story up front. I don't mean set it up in an outline form and be the good guys here, bad guys here, you know?
Yeah, I think he's trying to make a point of like nobody is a good bad guy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You still have to have a struggle defined. You have to have a reason for your world to exist, and he hasn't done that yet. And this far into the story, you don't know that it's Malazan trying to take over the world. They haven't even said that. They've had a bunch of like weird poetic references.
Those weird poetic references are anecdotes written down in history. So like the pre-chapter snippets.
Yeah, I get it, but they don't really tell you anything. You don't know the world well enough
to understand what they're saying.
Or be interested in them.
Yeah,
you know, and I get it. I've read books like this before.
Yeah,
right? I can make it through them. Yeah. I will make it through it because I told you I'd read it with you.
Sure.
But it's just very distressing when you're like, come on, dude. Like, can you just tell me what's going on? that why did these characters exist? Like I said, it's really just give your book a reason to exist. Set it up. You know, you can just define the world. Here's this. These are the players. And you don't do it like that. You don't have a
You don't do it so
outline where you
simply
say,
as that.
Here are the players. You know, that's not what I'm saying. You set it up to where in the first few chapters you kind of know the distinguishing parties. You don't have to know all of them. You can throw more curveballs in later. But set your parties up for me so I understand what's going on. That there are some conflicts that need resolution. You know, let me know who's working towards resolution in one way versus another way. I don't need to know who good guys and bad guys are, you know.
Well, and the thing is, I think that the book does do that. I think the problem is you don't know that without having read the book.
Oh, Joy! See, you're proving my point. That's the thing.
That's what I'm admitting.
If you don't know why the book exists until the end of the book, just from a complete like creative perspective, you have limited your ability to reach more people. Which maybe that wasn't his goal, but that seems kind of silly.
Well, the setup for the book, like as far as like what is the objective, like why are people being mobilized to do stuff, happens in the next couple of chapters.
Gotcha.
So that does get explained.
Well, then maybe I'll come back and I'll change all the things I've said.
The larger meta narrative
point of the book, and now he's finally telling us stuff.
Yeah, the larger meta narrative is a lot more complicated and takes more to understand. But that's okay. But it is weird that the first 3 books, or like the first couple of books of the novel or of the series, are prequels for the overarching narrative for the series.
Avian,
interesting.
Malazan, Book of the Fallen. Something needs to hook you walking. Yeah, exactly. Give it something to hang its hat on. Right. You don't have to tell the whole story. You know, you don't want to handhold. But I do need to know why I should be reading your book. Right?
Yes.
Because if all you're doing is yapping and introducing characters, and the characters doing things, like, meh.
I will say the stuff that happens next in the book is what hooked me into the series. And into the book, per se.
I like the narrative. I like the world that they're building. I just would like to have an understanding of what's going on.
Yep.
Who should I be looking at and why?
Concur.
Which side should I pick? Do I like the evil dudes?
Dudes are interesting.
Never heard of it, Avian. Neither had I. Until you guys told me about it. Chat told me about it, said I should read it, and then Baby J came to town and said I should definitely read it. I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor. So, the Horus Heresy is an unfair way to look at it because they started writing the books like 20 years after they revealed the story. But yes, right? I think the Horus Heresy, actually, some of the books do a very bad job because they expect you to already know the world you're diving into. So they expect you to come with prior knowledge. The fact that it opens up, I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor, has a big statement for those of us that know the story already. It doesn't mean anything to anybody that is just coming in raw. Never heard about 40K, never heard about anything. You open it up, it's neat. It's
it's also very
I'm getting
confusing.
some foresight here, but you know, I don't know what the value of all this is, because you read through book 1 and you don't know these characters. You don't know until much later on the importance of the fact that they're showing you these brotherly love items happening, right? Because it's not until book 3 that all those shackles fall off, or book 2, maybe late book 2, right? So that's rough.
Well, I even started reading it, and I knew about Horus and the Emperor.
And it's still a little.
And it was weird, because they were like, I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor, and then it immediately starts talking about another emperor, and you're like, what the heck is going on? It's like, I mean, I kind of understood what they were talking about at the beginning, but now I'm like really confused as to what's happening.
I think if you go back and read that again, you'll find that it explained the false emperor and what they were prosecuting.
Yes.
That compliance at the very beginning. It was just in like a sentence you weren't paying attention to.
Very, very possible.
Because it discusses why they're in that compliance right at the beginning of it. You know?
Yeah, but I didn't know, well, for one, I didn't know that what the compliances were. Like, there's a lot of, like,
it doesn't really do a good job of telling you that. That's why I say I don't know that it's a great example of saying, it almost says what I'm saying and reinforces the need. but it does it in a way of something that I happen to love, so I got it.
Yeah,
but
because I have like little tidbits of information, but I don't know.
Well, and like Lumberjack Tim started reading them and
stuff.
didn't like them, and it for the same, for a lot of reasons, but kind of the same thing, right? Is that he didn't come from a world of understanding what was going on. He didn't have a love for it already.
Yeah,
and it threw him right into it, and then you're like, oh well.
Yeah.
It asks you to know quite a bit about the subject matter that it's throwing you into. And not a horrible thing, I don't guess, but if it's a big world that you should already know. But Malazan, not a world anybody's ever heard of before.
I will warn you in advance. The second book is basically almost 100% unrelated to the
What?
Yeah.
What?
There are a couple of characters that are in the first book that you as a result of having read the first book, because they're in it quite a bit. But yeah, because the second book and the third book take place at the same time.
Second book and the third book,
yes,
take place at the same time.
Right. There are two different viewpoints happening in two different parts of the world, on like two different continents.
But they don't tie them together at all.
They tie them together in the book that follows.
Okay.
Yes.
Told me all I need to know about this author.
Yes. It's confusing, creepy. It's cool and interesting, but confusing.
Like I said, it just sounds like, the author set out to make you invest and then want to go back and read it again. Oh, get it now. It's like watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones makes you want to go back and
watch it again.
Because now you understand the things that didn't make that much sense in the first time around.
Yeah.
Because you didn't find out until much later.
Yep. So, I will tell you that from the get-go. And if you decide to back out, I understand.
You didn't tell me that from the get-go. The get-go would have been I didn't spend a credit on it.
I mean, I can buy you another credit if you don't like it.
I'm kidding you.
I don't mind doing that. I'm happy to do it.
I'm kidding you. Like I said, I'm really liking the narration. I think it can grow legs.
Yeah.
My only critique right now is that, treat your audience to some sort of understanding of why they should be there and that there is a payoff coming and, what the payoff could be.
Yeah.
The
payoffs definitely exist. But they are... Yeah. And the other thing, too, is, like, from what I understand of us having conversations about books in general, I think you pay closer attention to books than I do. So I think you will have an easier time of reading it than I did.
I have learned that I need to not listen to it in the car. That it needs to be one where I'm standing here painting.
Yeah.
And listening to it, because it does require you to listen to every word.
Yes, you have to pay attention to every single thing they're saying.
He doesn't hold your hand at all.
Yes.
It's like playing Dark Souls. This book is like playing Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It's an amazing ride when you get to the end, but along the way you have no freaking clue what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what this book is so far.
Yep.
It's like, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. But it's cool.
It gets really
confusing. And there are some aha moments already, but I'm like, why am I having to dig for these?
Yeah. It's like, and it's such a simple thing. Like I was listening to it.
You're trying first and only for the fourth time. I mean, I would stop banging my head against that wall and just give all your books away. So for the people that read the series, is it a really good book series, Alpha Male? Which, Malazan? Or Horus Heresy? But you're saying Red Rising as well. I can only speak to Horus Heresy in that land. I mean, the Malazan book 1 is okay so far. I just feel like it's trying too hard to create. I don't know.
The only thing is, I will say, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I will avoid answering it if it's a spoiler, and I will explain it if it
I mean, I'll
clarify.
get through it. I don't need it.
It's like one of the things that I needed explained to me, because it was kind of hard to understand at the beginning, is like the title of their generals, like it's not like general.
Malisand, yeah.
It's High Fist is their like term for general.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I didn't understand.
Which they don't tell you.
They don't tell you that.
So that's why you wouldn't understand it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the High Fist and yada,
they
yada, yada.
also refer to them as a short, as shorthand. They refer to them as fist.
Fist.
So it'll come up in conversation where they'll just say like the fist wanted to do this, and it's just like, what are you saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, and they could have just said the High Fist wanted to do this, and it makes more sense.
Stompy, we do have a video about brush care. It is probably longer than it needs to be. It's old, but it holds true.
Use the brush goop. It's fantastic.
And use the brush goop. Yes.
I used it the other day and was very pleased.
Use the brush goop.
Jen, if you're still here, brush goop's awesome. Nope, they're just humans.
Fortunately, I don't get to the metal today because we're done. Can you believe it? It's 2:15.
Is it really?
What the heck?
What is going on?
You read the first 4 or 5 of Horus Heresy and then skip to the Siege of Terra. It almost exactly the way to do it. Not gonna lie. Read the first 5 or 6 books. There are a few along the way that are worth picking up. But if you feel like you're find the Horus Heresy daunting because there's 57 books before the last 9. So, don't. You only need to read like maybe a dozen books, if that. There are some short story compendiums that are really good and shed a lot of light on certain things, but they're probably more appealing to people that know more about the universe. If you just want to get down and dirty, read the first books, Flight of the Eisenstein, The Buried Dagger comes later. The Buried Dagger, it might be the last. That might be book 57, right before the Siege of Terra. You need to read that, right? Betrayer is really good. There's some really good stuff in that. There's some books along the way that will help. Master of Mankind, very important book. A lot of people don't like it, but it's one of the best in the series. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back through and think if there's any others that you really have to read. Everything else would just be like, oh, I happen to like the Iron Legion or the Iron Hand, so you read some Iron Hand stuff. But I like the Salamander, so you read all the Vulcan books. But they're not necessary. Very rarely do they have anything that is pushing the narrative to a point that you won't find anyway when you read the Siege of Terra. And technically, if you know enough about the Horus Heresy going all in, you could read the first 3 books and then just read the Siege of Terra. For sure.
I will probably read more than just the 12.
Creepy. The way you're describing this book reminds me of how I felt about the Legion book, like the Horus Heresy Legion book. What? You just weren't paying attention. Like, I think Legion is really good. Avian, may I ask the eternal question about the Monument Store? No. No. Walking Harder says, why don't people like Master of Mankind? Because it doesn't have enough bolter porn in it, I think.
I could do with less bolter.
Yeah, Master of Mankind is really good. Really good. It's a tough book to read because it takes you on a journey of a particular custodian talking to the Emperor in his dreams, and a lot of allegory and a lot of nuance to it about what the Emperor is trying to tell him the whole way.
That I can
and as the reader, you pick up on where it's going. The character doesn't understand until the very end, right? Which I like. It culminates all the threads at the very end. But again, it shows you what the story is about. You know what the conflict is, because the whole time it's going, it's raging in the webway. And then there's these outtakes from it that at the end spit you out when the Emperor goes into the webway and fights.
Some stuff.
And fights. It's one of the few instances where you get to see the Emperor fighting. He nearly dies, but as a matter of fact, he nearly dies every time you get to see him fighting. So a little odd. But he is fighting against like the quintessential hardest MFers in the universe every time he fights. Like, the only reason the Emperor gets out and swings a sword is because literally whatever's out there will kill everything if he doesn't.
What was the thing he was fighting in the webway?
The the fall of empires, the demon of the first murder, who is called Fall of Empires or Death of Empires or something like that. He has some other name, but they call him the Fall of Empires. Was coming through the webway and literally just murdering everything. It could subvert and possess electronics and stuff. So it possessed a Warhound Titan. It possessed one of the AdMech dudes that was there that had a big spider body and tons of weapons. It was just unstoppable, murdering everything in its path, and nearly killed the Emperor too. So End of Empires, yeah, something like that. Draknan. I don't know that that's true, though, right? I don't know that his name was Draknan. That was what the sword was called. Is that his name, too? I don't remember. I don't think they knew his name. I don't think anybody knew his name. That was the thing. You couldn't control it. You didn't have power over it. But yeah, it was the demon of the first murder. He was birthed when the first human, or when the first murder occurred, that demon was created. And that demon was then the fall of empires, because it was the thing that kept propagating more murder, and backstabbing and all of that. So.
And I would assume grew more powerful the more murder. And
created from Cain killing Abel, basically, right? If that mythos is dragged in, I don't think they name it that way, but yes, the first murder.
That's what they draw a line to, for sure. They're like, oh hey, you've heard this story before. Goes by a different.
But there is so much important stuff in Master of Mankind for the entirety of what drives the Horus Heresy that you almost can't
miss it. Yeah.
But it is a tough read. If you're,
I'm excited to read it.
It's a great book.
It sounds like something that's very interesting.
It's a tough read if you like Space Marines and 40k bolter porn, because it is not that.
I probably could do less of that.
It is very cerebral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cerebral book. And it asks you to think outside of all the other experiences that you've had in the 40k Horus Heresy nebulous world, and draw what you've heard and read and thought into this, because the Emperor's speaking what you are led to believe is truth that cracks through the armor of all these other things that have been stated in the mythos. Kind of cool. Yeah, and the action's all at the end in the webway. Like literally, it all just comes together as one thing at the very end.
Cool.
But I believe it's...
You get to see the Emperor beat up a demon.
Yeah, sort of.
That's pretty cool.
I won't reveal what he actually does, but...
In theory, beat up a demon. Or use his brain power to make it stop existing.
Well, yeah, the action it has is incredible. As you feel the tides turn of the Imperial forces in the webway making progress, beating back chaos, and then all of a sudden, not at all.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, getting their butts trounced. Like, he's not even affected by the Sisters of Silence. He's not, he just doesn't care.
That demon?
He's just whacking, because basically it's Imperial Guard, Custodians, and Sisters of Silence down there whooping ass, and AdMech, lots of Titans and stuff. And then this guy the demon just comes flooding in and says, oh, how fun, and just starts annihilating everything. It's pretty crazy. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Jen and I have a meeting at 2:30, which is also the best time to visit the dentist.
7 minutes. Huh?
The best time to visit the dentist.
At 2:30?
He said it. Ha ha! Yeah!
Why am I here? Cheap jokes. Yeah. Bye, chat. Much love.
Stick around for the raid. I'm never returning again. But I love you guys so much.
See you tomorrow.
We're out of here. Stick around for the raid. Show some love to the people we wind up with. And make sure to check out the links. ! Store and ! Discord. Hit them. Somebody hit them. I'm going out of here. We're out of here.
Oh, God.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow.